Have you ever wondered why Florida is called Florida, or how Alaska got its unique name? We're about to explore how each US state got its name, the untold origins. Alabama. The state of Alabama is named after the river which European explorers named after a local Native American tribe, according to the Alabama Department of Archives and History. 49. Alaska. The Russians sold Alaska to the United States in 1867. The name is sometimes loosely translated from the Aleut word Alyeska, meaning great land, which is understandable because the state is bigger than Texas, California, and Montana combined. These days, Alaska is willing to pay you $1,000 to move and stay there. 48. Arizona. Historians disagree over how Arizona got its name. One theory is that the name is derived from Papago tribal words meaning place of the young spring. Another theory is that the name derives from a Spanish word meaning good oak tree. 47. Arkansas. The state of Arkansas was named after a Native American tribe, the Akana. Arkansas means south wind, i.e. downstream. The tribe lived downstream from the major Algonquin tribe in the area. 46. California. The name comes from the Spanish legend of Queen Khalifa, ruler of an island called California. Yes, the early explorers thought they were on an island. 45. Colorado. Colorado means the color red, and Spanish explorers named the muddy red river they found Rio Colorado. Congress chose the name for the territory in 1861. 44. Connecticut. The Founding Fathers began drafting the US Constitution in the state, but that has nothing to do with the name. By the 1600s, what is now the Connecticut River was already known by a derivation of the Native American word Quineticut, which means long tidal river. Did you know that Connecticut's nickname is the Nutmeg State? 43. Delaware. Delaware got its name way back in 1610 when explorer Samuel Argall, sailing from Virginia, saw what is now Cape Henlopen and called it Cape de la War, in tribute to the first governor of Virginia, Thomas West, who is also the third Baron de la War. 42. Florida. Juan Ponce de Leon was the first to call the state Florida when he landed in the northeastern part in April 1513. The name comes from the celebration, Pascua Florida, Feast of the Flowers. 41. Georgia. Georgia was named by the Royal Charter in 1732 after England's King George II. King George II demanded that the 13th colony, which later became the state of Georgia, be named after him. 40. Hawaii. When Captain James Cook discovered the islands that are now Hawaii in 1778, he wanted the islands to be called the Sandwich Islands, after the Earl of Sandwich. 39. Idaho. While it may sound like a Native American-derived name, Idaho may be entirely made up. A mining lobbyist claimed it was an Indian word that meant gem of the mountains, and hoped to name the territory that included Colorado accordingly. 38. Illinois. That's the name Congress chose in 1818, but with a pronunciation that was decidedly not French. As for why Chicago is known as the Windy City, let's just say the French weren't clever enough to come up with that nickname. 37. Indiana. Named after the Indians for whom the land was acquired. 36. Iowa. Iowa takes its name from the tribe of Native Americans who lived in the area, the Iowa, or the English spelling, Ioways. The name is believed to mean one who puts to sleep. Iowa's first recorded use was by Lieutenant Albert M. Lee, who had ventured across it on a mission in 1835, when it was still part of the Wisconsin Territory, and later wrote about it in a book he published in 1836. 35. Kansas. Kansas takes its name from the Kansa tribe that lived in the area. The name loosely translates to people of the south wind. 34. Kentucky. Some experts believe the name comes from the Wyandot tribal name for plain, in reference to the central plains of the state. Other historians say it comes from the Iroquoian word meaning prairie. Some say the name means dark and bloody ground. See if you can guess which American president was born in Kentucky. 33. Louisiana. Dubbed in 1862 by the same French explorer who later named Illinois, Louisiana honors King Louis XIV of France. 32. Maine. The first record of Maine being called Maine was dated August 10, 1662, and comes from English Royal Navy veterans Sir Ferdinando Gorges and Captain John Mason. Historians believe they called the territory Maine to distinguish it from all the islands off the coast. 31. Maryland. Maryland is named for a French-born Queen of England, King Charles's wife, Queen Henrietta Maria, aka Queen Mary. When King Charles gave Lord Baltimore a charter in 1632 to establish a new colony, he included the stipulation that it be named in his wife's honor. 30. Massachusetts. The New England state was named after the Massachusetts Indians who lived in the region. The name loosely translates to, "at the Great Hill." 29. Michigan. The name comes from the Chippewa word Michigama, which means great or large lake. European explorers named Lake Michigan after the tribe's word in 1670. Later, the entire state took that name as well. 28. Minnesota. Minnesota's name comes from the Dakota tribe's words for water, mini, and clouds, soda. But whether the water was cloudy, or whether the water was so clear it reflected the clouds in the sky, is a mystery we may never solve. 27. Mississippi. The name comes from the river, which got its name from the Native American communities that used it for transportation and food. They called it the Mississippi, which translates to big water. If you're fond of state trivia, try this state nicknames quiz. 26. Missouri. The Sioux tribe is the source for the name of Missouri, according to Missouri's Secretary of State. The word has often been interpreted to mean muddy water, but according to the Smithsonian Institution Bureau of American Ethnology, the name means town of the large canoes. 25. Montana. Its name is derived from the Spanish word Montana, meaning mountain, even though Montana's average elevation of 3,400 feet makes it the lowest of all the Rocky Mountain states. 24. Nebraska. The state name of Nebraska is derived from the Native American name for the Platte River, which runs through it, Nebraska, meaning flat water. The name was first used in writing in 1842 by John Charles Fremont, and it stuck. 23. Nevada. Nevada was named for the nearby mountain range, mostly in California, called the Sierra Nevadas. 22. New Hampshire. Named by Captain John Mason after Hampshire County in England, the state was the 9th state to ratify the US Constitution and the first state to have its own constitution. Its spirit of independence is epitomized in the state motto, "Live free or die." 21. New Jersey. The name comes from the English Channel island of Jersey in honor of Sir George Carteret, one of the two men to whom the land of New Jersey was originally given. And Sir Carteret? He's the namesake of the township called Carteret in New Jersey. 20. New Mexico. New Mexico was the name the Spanish used for lands north of the Rio Grande. Mexico refers to an Aztec god, Mexitli. The name New Mexico was given to the land ceded to the United States by Mexico after the Mexican-American War. 19. New York. In 1624, the Dutch arrived in the land that's now New York and called it New Amsterdam, after Holland's biggest city. By 1664, New Amsterdam fell into the hands of the British, who renamed it New York in honor of the Duke of York. 18. North Carolina. North and South Carolina were part of one colony until 1729 when the province of Carolina was split. In 1629, King Charles I granted the territory to Sir Robert Heath. He named it Carolina. The word is derived from the name Carolus, translated as Charles. 17. North Dakota. The land that is now North Dakota was acquired by the French as part of the Louisiana Purchase. The Dakota Territory was formed in 1861 and included what is now North and South Dakota, as well as Montana and Wyoming. Dakota comes from a Sioux tribe from the region and translates to friend. 16. Ohio. According to History.com, Ohio got its name from the Iroquois word Oyo, which means Great River. 15. Oklahoma. Oklahoma was a phrase in the Choctaw language that described the skin color of Native Americans as a whole. Okla means people, and Huma means red. 14. Oregon. The first use of Oregon seems to date back to 1778 and refers to the local river, now called the Columbia. The name comes from the Quebecois word Oregon, which sounds close to the way Oregon residents pronounce the state's name. It means hurricane and may refer to the weather conditions faced by Canadian fur trappers. 13. Pennsylvania. England's King Charles II, the same one who chartered Maryland in 1832, gave William Penn, a Quaker, the right to settle there. The king didn't specify that the settlement should have any particular name, so Penn named it Pennsylvania, after his father, Admiral Sir William Penn. 12. Rhode Island. The first mention of the name can be found in a letter from 1524 from the explorer Giovanni da Verrazzano. He refers to an island near the mouth of Narragansett Bay that looks like the Isle of Rhodes in the Aegean Sea. Rhode Island stuck as the informal name until it was adopted as the official colony name in 1663. 11. South Carolina. South Carolina has the same origin story as North Carolina, but its own unique topography and history. It's home to more than 350 golf courses and had a relationship to the game of golf since as early as 1743, when the city of Charleston welcomed a shipment of golf balls and clubs from Scotland. 10. South Dakota. The origins of South Dakota's name are the same as that of North Dakota, but just a year after the Louisiana Purchase, Fort Pierre was established by the Lewis and Clark expedition as South Dakota's first permanent American settlement. 9. Tennessee. Parts of Tennessee were almost included in a 14th colony that would have been known as Transylvania. Otherwise, details for the origin of Tennessee have been lost over time. But Spanish explorer Captain Juan Pardo was the first to record the name in 1567. 8. Texas. Texas comes from the word Tasha, meaning hello friend, in the language of the Caddo tribe. Spanish explorers and settlers used this word in the 16th century to refer to the friendly tribes throughout Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas. 7. Vermont. Vermont is a portmanteau of sorts from the French words for green and mountain, verd and mont. Vermont is the Green Mountain State after all. 6. Virginia. Virginia was named for Queen Elizabeth I of England, also known as the Virgin Queen. It is thought that Sir Walter Raleigh suggested the name to the Queen in 1584 when she gave Raleigh permission to colonize the land. 5. Utah. Mountains, high plateaus, and deserts distinguish Utah's topography. When Spanish settlers arrived in the area in the late 16th century, they noticed that some of the native tribes lived in the mountains, while some lived in the valleys. The Apache word Utahi refers to either high places or people who live in high places. 4. Washington. Yep, both Washington State and Washington, D.C. are named for the first president of the United States. Granted statehood in 1889, Washington is the only state named after a president. Now that you know he has a state named after him, here are some more facts about George Washington your teachers never taught you in school. 3. West Virginia. When West Virginia withdrew from Virginia in 1861 because it didn't agree with Virginia's ceding from the Union, it considered the names Kanawha, Vandalia, Augusta, Allegheny, New Virginia, and Western Virginia. 2. Wisconsin. Wisconsin was originally Mesconsing, which is the Native American name for the river, now called Wisconsin as well, that runs 430 miles through the state. The English eventually changed the spelling to Wisconsin, because that's what the Indian word sounded like to them. 1. Wyoming. Depending on who you talk to, the word Wyoming means either large plains, mountains and valleys alternating, at the Big River Flat, or a large prairie place. Thanks for watching.